This letter from Melissa Burry is dated November 2nd, 2022, and she claims that she's writing to address our concerns. This is not addressing concerns because it's just telling us a bunch of lies. I encourage you to submit a Form 6 Workers' Report of Injury so that we can assess eligibility for wage loss benefits. A Form 6 was not needed. She was presented with modified working duties, which is medical information, and they were supposed to take that because the injury was already approved in 2018 when it originally happened. What they did once they did get Form 6 on January 24th of 2023 was they sent it to an adjudicator who tried to investigate a new incident and then recorded a reoccurrence for January 24th of 2023. So that was flat out misinformation from her and not the way that the act states. So she was not acting underneath the act at all when it comes to telling us that Form 6 was needed. It provides them with current information and consent to gather information. They already had consent. And the injury was approved for wage loss benefits already. All they had to do was do the calculations or estimate the loss of earning capacity. There was nothing to adjudicate eligibility because the injury was already accepted for any wage loss in January of 2018 when it originally happened. That decision was already made. The injury was reported. The incident was reported. Everything was already approved. He was already eligible. They were supposed to estimate the loss of earning capacity and then take the information from his earnings, which is the information from his current employer, and subtract it from the estimated loss of earning capacity based on how much that injury and everything else was impacting his earnings at the time. Then it says, we require this for all claims of injury reoccurrence. So she decided to turn modified working duties into a reoccurrence. What? No. A reoccurrence is when you're completely off work as a result of disabling symptoms. That's what a reoccurrence is. And Dustin did not lose work as a result of the injury at the time. He was given modified working duties that reduced his earning capacity. It was not a reoccurrence, but she already decided it was. And then when the Form 6 was signed, she passed it off to an adjudicator who all of a sudden started investigating the incident. That never happened. So she didn't empathize with our concerns. She was completely trying to get Dustin to provide a false claim on his own file. That's what she was doing. Underneath the act, she also states here that his wage loss benefits are lower than pre-injury income. On November 2nd, 2022, his pre-injury income was actually no longer valid because he made more from his pre-reoccurrence income than his pre-injury income. So she should have been talking about his pre-reoccurrence income of August the 5th, 2019, not his pre-injury income. Then she says the act allows for tax-free wage loss benefits of 85% of pre-injury net income calculated based on a minimum of $69,005 for 2022, and Workplace NL must follow this guidance for all claims. Actually, Section 19.4, which turned into Section 20-4 with the new version of the act that came out in 2023, I believe it was, said that it's supposed to be based on the facts. And the facts actually allow an adjustment if it's going to cause unfair results for Dustin to not even be maxed out at the 85%, let alone the maximum of $69,005. So, this is all lies by Melissa Burry. And then she says, if you wish to discuss this matter further, please contact her directly. Why? So she can continue to tell us a whole bunch of bullshit like she did in this letter? Because that's all that happened in those phone calls. Nope, you got to sign a Form 6. It's a reoccurrence. It's not a reoccurrence, Melissa. Yes, it is. It's a reoccurrence. You have to sign Form 6. If you're not going to sign Form 6, there's nothing I can do for you. That's not a discussion. That is not a discussion. It's, I'm going to make you do what I want you to do, even though it's completely against the law. I'm going to make you do it anyway. And we requested someone outside of Melissa Burry, and that was denied. That's when I really lost my shit because I knew the difference. Melissa Burry had already threatened us with communication restrictions prior to all of this back in 2019. I've had it. There's no doubt in my mind. I have had it with Melissa Burry, Charmaine Janes, and Kimberly Doyle, and the fact that no one wants to listen to the fact that they're flat out lying. That's what they do. They flat out lie and manipulate everything and expect to get patted on the back, I guess, from the offices, because no matter what we do, human resources won't do anything with them. So who do you turn to? We've turned to human resources. We've turned to the Office of the Workers' Advisors. We've turned to the Citizens Rep. We've turned to the ministers, all of them, Bernard Davis, Lisa Dempster, Pam Parsons, and now Mike Guzny. We've sent it all to the news media, and no one gives a damn. Great province, right? Great province to live in when no one gives a shit.